All net. All net. What up, y'all? All net. All net. All net. With Mike Logic and Ideal. What up, y'all? Switch.
What up, y'all? What up? It's your boy Ideal, joined alongside with Mike Logic, and you got us here at the All Net Podcast, brought to you in sponsorship with the good folks over at Shine Native Entertainment, True Chicago Sports Fans, and 606 Media. If you watch the game tonight, it looks like our Bulls were just a tad bit short, and they drop a thriller at the end to the Orlando Magic, 108-107 on a Jalen Suggs 3, coming off of two misses by Vucevic. But there's a lot more to unravel here tonight, and to help me do that will be none other than Mike Logic. How you doing tonight, Mike?
I'm doing great, Ideal. We're gonna try to make sense of what we just saw. And personally, I felt like the game ended how it should have. The Bulls did not deserve that win, despite the Mars 41 and Javonte being a catalyst for this lifeless squad. But the Magic won the game, and I felt like that's how it should have went, even though the Bulls tried. Too little, too late.
Too little, too late indeed. DeMar DeRozan leads all scorers tonight with 41 and 5 rebounds. Vucevic chipped in 14 and 16, but he needed at least 15, Mike.
He's not a bad free throw shooter. I think he's around 75%. I was expecting to hit at least one of those free throws.
I was expecting that as well. Patrick Williams with 12.7 rebounds. Zach LaVine had an absolutely horrendous night of shooting tonight. Did not look good. Finishes with 4 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists in 25 minutes, Michael.
So this is my problem with Zach. He's still trying to force his offense when he doesn't have it going. There was a point in the game when Vooch had Jalen Suggs on him, even though Jalen Suggs blocked Vooch in that game. We'll talk about that a little later. But he had Jalen Suggs in the post, and Zach took a horrible shot when he had the better option waiting for the ball. And this is another thing about Vooch working his butt off and not being rewarded. There was another play where Vooch was running down. He was on a fast break. He was getting ahead of the pack. DeMar did not throw him the ball on the fast break, and Vooch was busting his ass to get to the basket. So, basketball, we talk about it being a simple game. You hear people saying, it's a simple game. It's a simple game. You have your game plan. The defense is going to have their game plan. On offense, you see what the defense is doing, and you try to counteract that. They had no answer for Vooch. When they go to him in the post, he's either going to make a play around the basket or he's going to make an excellent pass most of the time.
I believe the story of this game was a lot of regards to effort and starting out slow. Billy Donovan did make mention of that, saying it was going to be more on the big three onus. That's where it lies. And here's a pregame quote from him.
Able to respond better to start the game and coming out of the locker room. To me, your veteran guys drive that mentality, and we need them to drive that mentality. I've got like a lot.
I don't know if they actually drove that home, because at the end of the first quarter, they found themselves down 24-37. Not exactly the start you were looking for, Mike, huh?
37 first quarter points to the Orlando Magic. No, definitely not the start you're looking for. And if you want to talk about what the halftime score was, 66-42, the Bulls down 14. The Bulls gave up 66 first half points. The Orlando Magic score, on average, 109 points a game.
Wendell Carter Jr. had himself another solid game, 21 points, 8 rebounds. Jalen Suggs, 25 and 8. And our boy Franz Wagner, 20 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists. Bol had himself a double-double, 15 and 10. And Mamba came out with 13 and 4 as well.
Yeah, Wendell really likes playing against his former squad. He averages 21. He had 17 in the first half. He had a couple monster dunks. He looks way more comfortable in Orlando. He was pulling step backs out of his bag. He had a nice step back jump shot on Vooch. Things we were not accustomed to seeing from Wendell. It looks like he really found a home in Orlando. So I would say that the trade was beneficial for both squads, because trading Vooch to the Bulls allowed them to get Franz Wagner, and now they have a Wendell Carter who believes in himself, and his play is shining through.
Bulls win the turnover battle as well as the assist battle, but the most important one that you see here is the NBA. It is the 2020s. They shoot 23.8%, 5 of 21 from the three-point line tonight. That's not going to get it done, is it?
Just terrible.
In retrospect,
and a lot of that has to do with Zach going.
In retrospect, the Magic shot 12 of 28 for 42.9%. That's not going to get it done there. The points in the paint, it was, as you alluded to, the advantageous Vucevic down low. They didn't really have an answer for him. The Bulls finished with 50 points in the paint to the 38 versus the Magics.
They didn't, and they didn't go back to him enough in the second quarter. But I really think the story of tonight, Ideal, was Billy Donovan choosing to sit Javonte Green until the second half, because Javonte didn't play a single minute until the third quarter, and when he got in there, he gave this team life. He was a catalyst, like I said earlier. His play on both sides of the court. He finished with 8 points, but I think he had like 3 steals, and he was just everywhere. He had some monster dunks, lobs, breakaway layups, and it definitely revitalized this team, or gave this team energy that it sorely needed.
As always, we'd like to give a shout out to our people that are tuned in. You got the All Net Podcast. Bulls drop 1 to the Orlando Magic, 108-107, moving their record to 6-10 on the season. We got Jordan Cruz checking in. He's a little upset. He says the Bulls are sucking ass. Zach is ass. Vooch is cheeks for them free throws. And we've started with bricks on our ass through the last 7 games. A lot of ass there. Safe to say Jordan Cruz is not happy with what he's seeing from the Bulls lately.
He's not at all happy. And for good reason. Zach needs to stop trying to force his offense.
Zach just said about 2 minutes ago, in quote, "It's nothing to say about that one." It's a tough loss. They're saying the IO is still in full uniform, game shoes, and just sitting at his locker, staring into his phone and the ground. I can tell you from previous experience, IO, you're not gonna find the answer there.
No, you got to just get back into practice. You're playing the Celtics next game. You know, you got to shake it off.
Shake it off.
Move on to the next one. Sitting there in your locker, sulking's not going to do it, IO. And you know it. But I understand. We've all been there. We've had those games where we're just looking for answers. We're trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this team. This is a team that's supposed to be a playoff contender. Not a winner, not by any means a winner, but we
had spoke to that the other day about what was your realistic expectations? Second round defeat,
and they're dropping with each game.
Well, the Orlando Magic snapped their 2-game losing streak, and the Bulls extend theirs to 4 games. The Magic started off hot, shooting over 60% from the field in the first half, and built a lead as large as 19. Well, eventually Chicago chipped away and tied it up at 94 all in the fourth quarter. Unfortunately, the Magic tracked on a 7-0 run to build a 7-point lead. The Bulls responded with a 9-2 run of their own to tie the game with a minute to go. And then right there, I mean, you're one of your big threes got to hit one of those free throws, I feel.
Vooch had to hit one of them. Just one of them. That was a great shot by Jalen Suggs, but it shouldn't have never even got to that point. Vooch had to hit one of those shots. And that's all. That's it. DeMar had a great game. Another great performance. Him and Javonte Green. Who would our player of the game be, Javonte or DeMar? I'm giving that to Javonte just because of how he changed the complexion of that game as soon as he got in there.
Javonte's big 8 points in 18 minutes did it for you, Mike?
His 3 steals, his defensive plays. He was all over the court. Big-time dunks. It's amazing how much a dunk can give your team like a boost, a lift.
Damien's checking in. He says the story is Zach going 1 for 14 in the perimeter defense. It's going to be the same all year. The team is going to go as Zach goes. They have no identity on either side of the floor.
And we talked about identity last show, which you guys can also check out on Anchor.fm. And it's on Spotify too. We talked about that last show. Bulls had to figure out what kind of team they want to be. And right now, they're looking for answers. As you were talking about Io, looking at the ground. Yeah, I don't know that we have the answers on this show, but we can definitely break down what
Is
we're
there
seeing.
is there a certain point where you're getting off to these slow starts?
They're concerning.
and you're running with two young pups out there in the lineup. Is there any reason where you might want to go ahead and insert Dragic in there and maybe even Javonte Green in there and now and slide those two back off of the bench?
I'm fine with keeping Pat Williams in there because we know what he does on defense. And I actually thought Pat Will played pretty good this game. He went 3 for 5 from the field, 2 for 4 from the 3. He looked a little bit more aggressive. He had 7 rebounds.
There was a point, I think, about 5 minutes left in the game where it was swung out to him in the 3-point corner, and
he didn't take the shot.
He needs to take that shot. Instead, he pump fakes.
You probably heard me yelling.
He takes a pump fake and gets called for a travel.
Yeah,
big turnover in that point. And
got to shoot that shot, Pat.
I think even DeMar was a little demonstrative with him and a little upset, saying, you gotta be aggressive there, Pat.
And he does. And I've actually seen DeMar step up as a leader or be a more noticeable vocal leader. Like DeMar seems to be more of a leader with how he plays and how he leads by example. But he was definitely a little more mouthy today, for sure. I saw a lot more emotion come out of DeMar, and I think Pat Williams might need that because he respects DeMar. So, it's all about the messenger too, who's delivering this message to Pat. And I think it means a lot coming from DeMar.
Bulls fall to 6-10 on the season, dropping a heartbreaker at the end of the Orlando Magic, 108-107, extending the losing streak to 4 games. You're tuned into the All Net Podcast with Ideal and Mike Logic. Shout out our sponsors, Shine Native Entertainment, 606 Media, and True Chicago Sports Fans. Taking a look ahead on Monday night, the Bulls will take on the Boston Celtics. On Wednesday, the Milwaukee Bucks. And then on Friday, your birthday, the Thunder. No rest for the weary this upcoming.
Have you seen Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's numbers?
They're ridiculous at the moment.
So that's 3 games that could be 3 losses for the Bulls unless they pick up the intensity in which they play with. And they need to stop playing from behind. They are playing like a bad team right now. This is not a playoff squad with what we're seeing out there. And they are too talented to be playing like this and keep trying to come from behind, especially from the young and inexperienced Orlando Magic. Now, I think Jamal Mosley has done a great job with his young squad, even though they only have 5 wins. But you see, he had them ready for that game. The Bulls were not ready. So, and I don't know what's going on with Billy Donovan's look. I don't know if it's no shave November. But he's looking like a coach that wants to get fired. He came to Chicago. He had the slick back hair. He had the shaved face. Looking like a pretty boy. And now he just looks disheveled.
Not only will you get basketball insight from the great basketball mind as Mike Logic, you also get dressing points.
What I'm saying is that an indication of how the season's going, how Billy's looking.
It could be a direct result. Jordan Cruz is saying, fire Billy. He doesn't know a gosh darn thing.
Well, he knew to put Javonte Green in the 3rd, just not in the 1st or the 2nd.
Maybe at that point you are just searching for something in there, and that was he was going to one that he pulled the old ace, the driver out of the bag and just hope for the best.
Ideal. Damien asks, if you could set the ideal lineup for the Bulls, regardless of bench starter, what would it be? I think, are you going to keep, I think it comes down to, because we already talked about, I would like to see Dragic in there, and it seems like you would like to see Dragic in there possibly, but it comes down to, do you put Javonte Green in there over Pat Williams? Me personally, right now, I like what I see. I like what I'm seeing from Pat.
And you can argue that
if you put Pat on the bench, he's not going to do the same thing that Javonte does. He's not that energetic type of player that Javonte is. Javonte is perfect coming off the bench.
It's like he was designed for that kind of role, and I think that's where you get your biggest spark for him. The biggest thing is, waiting until the second half to get him some run. That might be the one that comes back to haunt you a little bit for this, but I honestly don't see any. Given the lineup that they have out there, it's pretty solid. Ayo's been doing a good job. Yeah. So, and the same thing with Pat Will.
He had an off game. Ayo had an off game the other day. That's fine.
Hey, yo.
You saw he came back and he was attacking the rim. from the very jump of this game, from the very
He
start.
was aggressive. Out of the first 13
And I like
points
that.
he had, 10 of them were coming from the paint. So he was attacking, being assertive, and that's something we like to see. So, I mean, short of getting our boy Ball back, I don't really know what's going on. There is talk that is it time to consider blowing this thing up and moving pieces, because you might see
I got 2 text messages from people asking, should the Bulls blow it up? I'm like, we're only 16 games into
Wow,
the season.
Damien's saying he's got to go with Zach off the bench.
He cannot.
You pay a lot of money.
Damien, I understand your frustrations with Zach. I really do.
You don't
but
pay 200
never
plus
in
million.
sports history are you going to pay someone over $200 million and expect to bring them off the bench. It's not going to happen. Even Billy brought Zach back out when Zach should have just sat his ass on the bench for the rest of the game. I would have rather had Javante out there, Ayo out there, Dragic out there than Zach. Zach could have stayed his ass on the bench for the rest of the game. He did not deserve to come back in.
He's saying, he says, I know they won't do it. I said bench or starter, but that's a real tough
You guys,
call,
Zach
man.
is going to get it back. He's going to eventually be fine. We have to be patient. We talked about the procedure. It's clear that something mentally is probably going on with Zach LaVine right now. He went 1 for 14, the worst shooting night of his career. So he's working some things out. Let's give him some time. Let's relax. The Bulls have other things to figure out too. It's not just Zach. DeMar can't score 40 points every game.
Kobe White didn't get much run tonight, 4 minutes only.
I was surprised he actually played. And I wanted to apologize to you guys when I made the promo video this morning. I was looking off the ESPN injury report, and I was reporting what was reported to me. And it's funny how things can change when you get to that shoot around the morning of the game. So my apologies. Gary Harris did end up playing. I said Wendell was probably going to play, and he did. Pat Will played. I did not expect Kobe White to play that game. So when I saw Casey Johnson reporting it, I'm like, okay, cool. They could use this 3-point shooting.
Jay Cruz is saying Zach definitely needs to sit. They need to sit him on the bench, though. He says, why can't he cut? Why can't he play defense? And why can't he stop turning over the ball? Besides scoring, what does Zach do well?
I deserve this beer. That's why they paid him $215 million, Jay Cruz. For no other reason than his ability to score the basketball.
$215 million doesn't get you what it used to then.
That's it. But Michael Porter Jr. got paid close to the same amount, and all he does is shoot the basketball. If you can shoot the ball and you are the elite talent on offense like they are, you get paid $200+ million. That just happens. That's the way of the league.
Anything else that you see?
It's just really concerning. Like you asked me how concerned I was. I'm even more concerned today because I was expecting a much better effort early on, and they were continually down by double digits. They were down at one point by 19 to a young Orlando Magic squad who is not very good, even though I think their future is bright. They're still a star or two away from being, a playoff squad, I think.
Well, that remains to be seen on their end. I guess you could say the arrow seems to be pointing up a little better for the Orlando team as opposed to the team from Chicago. If you're tuning in with us, the Bulls drop a heartbreaker 108-107 to the Orlando Magic. They are on a current 4-game losing streak that has everyone freaking out over here, from Mike Bailey to Jay Cruz.
Adil, what are you expecting next game versus the Boston Celtics? Look in your crystal ball right now. And
the Bulls always play the Boston Celtics pretty tough. It'll be at home. I think they're going to get up for this game, and I will not be surprised if the Bulls stop their losing streak and defeat the Boston Celtics on Monday. What about yourself?
Expecting a much better offensive performance from Zach LaVine, a much better defensive effort from the Bulls. I thought their rotations were really sloppy. The Orlando Magic were getting way too many open looks. And even just on the backside, when they would throw the ball on the backside, there was nobody there to guard him. Easy flushes home. So once again, I'm expecting a max effort against a Boston squad who is rolling.
Well, I'm asking you, are they winning or losing?
Shit.
Look at you. You know you just love to vote for the Boston Celtics.
Jason Tatum is that guy. Because they need it, I'm gonna say the Bulls win. It's gonna be a close game.
You heard it here, folks. He has no hope for the Bulls in him. And part of being a Lakers fan for himself, he's definitely smiling about this and enjoying it inside.
Oh, I got some Lakers news for you. I was looking at the sports news articles, and I saw something about AD saying if the Lakers do decide to rebuild, his number one trade destination will be, can you guess where?
It better not be Chicago.
Well, that's what it was. Chicago Bulls.
That's not exactly breaking news there, Michael. That's been reported for months. But thank you nonetheless. I saw that there was a possible, I think he was over there in Indiana, the GM. Maybe trying to swing something, the GM for the Lakers. So maybe there's something they're trying to get.
They're trying to get Miles Turner and Buddy Hield.
Yes,
they've been trying to do that.
Jordan Cruz wants to remind you that he wasn't on the boat of paying Zach that money either.
Jay, we know we go over this every game.
We will never win a championship.
The other thing I feel like we need to address for the Bulls fans that want Derrick Rose back in this lineup through trade. What's Derrick Rose going to do for you? What do the Bulls need right now, Ideal? They need defense, and they need outside shooting. What part of that is Derrick Rose gonna help us?
I know one guy that fits that bill, and it's Lonzo Ball. You just remember when he was in this lineup last year in the beginning of it, there was at least 5 to 10 easy buckets a game just based off of him pushing the ball ahead.
He controls the tempo.
Yeah, it's rough, man.
He's a better player than Dragic.
And it really allows you to slot everyone else down into their proper positions in the roster, in the lineup. So I don't know, Mike. Like you said, the best thing you could do right now, I think you just hold on for hope and pray.
Lonzo, where you at, dog?
Lonzo comes back at some point this year and returns to form, but I'm not going to hold my breath too long on that one.
No, we appreciate you guys watching us here on the All Net Podcast, myself and Ideal. We try to do this after every Bulls games, or as many as we can. Shout out to our sponsors, Shot Native Entertainment, 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans. You feel like we should ever open up the phone lines?
I don't know, Michael. Do you know how to do all that?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
It's a button here.
He don't know nothing about he doing. He's Billy Donovan at the table right here. Just shows up, hopes for the best.
I don't have any gum to chew. None.
Well, the good thing for me now is I do not have to see you folks until at least Monday, because that is the next game for the Bulls as they take on the Boston Celtics. So hopefully things will get better then.
Hopefully.
Bulls drop one to the Orlando Magic tonight. 108-107, moving their record to 6-10 on the season. And it's another loss as the Bulls lose 4 in a row now. DeMar DeRozan did lead the Bulls with 41. Vucevic had a solid game, double-double, but he did miss the final 2 free throws of the game that allowed Jalen Suggs to come down and hit the victorious 3 to essentially walk it off. Anything that you'd like to add, Mike?
Let's figure it out, guys. Let's figure it out. Let's come out Monday. I'm coaching them up right now, Ideal. Let's come out Monday and put great effort into our defense earlier. And let's not fall behind. We can get behind 3 or 4 or 5, but let's not get down double digits to a team that can put their foot on your neck and not let their foot off the gas.
Strong words from a strong man. I'm Ideal. That's Mike Logic. You've been listening to the All Net Podcast. We'll catch y'all on the other side. Be good.
All net. All net. All net. What up, y'all? All net.